Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 7th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. Let's back up towards yesterday morning here. You can see the lenticular cloud activity we actually had there across some of the southern Washington Cascades on the east side. Put that into motion, and you can see a little bit of smoke moving around from the Pioneer Fire there right off of Lake Chelan. So otherwise, we're not looking at any huge fires here across the region. There are some smaller ones going on, but this is the bigger fire here across the region. And you can kind of see the hot spot showing up here on the GOES 18 satellite imagery. And as we go into the overnight hours, you can kind of see it still burning out there and producing smoke. We go in through this morning and you can see that smoke settling into some of the valleys out there. Lake Chelan, for example, kind of nicely smoke filled this morning and drifting across some portions of eastern Washington also. And we go into the daytime here. We're starting into the later morning hours as I'm doing this video here, and still you can see the smoke across Lake Chelan. You can see a little bit of stratus there for the Oregon coast as well. But we're going to dive into the heat wave ongoing right now. We are just really getting started with this here. It's really going to peak here for places west on Tuesday, and then maybe a day or so after. Pretty typical here for places off the east. And it doesn't show too much of a cool down here coming on the backside of this heat wave. We'll look at those details here as we go through the video this morning. Taking a look at the air quality index, not too bad. You can see some of that smoke there around Lake Chelan here, and kind of hit and miss, but not too bad overall. As you guys know, some of our past summers here over the last 5 to 10 years have been pretty smoke filled at times, but we're doing okay right now. Taking a look at the high temperatures today, look at Seattle checking in at 92, Tacoma, Olympia 98. Look at Chehalis perhaps reaching 100 degrees. North Bend right there on I-90, 97. Check it out. Darrington 98 degrees. Even Forks 91 on the Washington coast. Hoke William, another warm day today at 81 as well. And we are just absolutely slaying some of these record high temperatures here. Look at Medford. These are just absolutely obliterations of these past record highs. 112, 111 to 103, 104 to 99 here. So Medford beat it by 8, Klamath Falls by 6. These are just ridiculous beatings of these records here. Alturas there, 102 versus 99. That's a big deal right there. Those are huge differences from previous all-time record highs. And this is the National Weather Service, Medford, Oregon. And this was looking at Portland, Oregon, also set a record high yesterday. Vancouver, Washington tied its record high. Salem, Oregon beat it by 2 degrees, set back in 1960. Pretty impressive heat wave back there in 1960 as well. Eugene, Oregon actually absolutely decimated its record high of 100 degrees back in 1960 with 104. And Quileute did beat its all-time record high yesterday as well. Again, another 85-degree day there. A pretty big difference between the 82 set back in 2010. Looking at Seattle, we hit 91 here at SeaTac yesterday, and the record high was 94 in that big heat wave in 1960. But we have the chance to beat an all-time daily record high today. It hangs out right at 90, and we should probably be into the low 90s for SeaTac here. So yeah, record high temperatures possible, and we'll see how that goes in the upcoming next days, Monday and Tuesday. We could get Tuesday's record as well on the 9th there, 93. We may hit 94 or so for Seattle. We'll be watching that one closely. Looking at the long duration heat wave here, eastern Washington, it just continues, and you can see Spokane probably topping out here on Wednesday for a lot of the areas. Spokane either Tuesday or Wednesday. Republic 101, 100. Look at Lewiston 109, Moses Lake 106 by Wednesday as well. And we cool down, but not that much. You notice this isn't a huge temperature drop. As you can see, places like Moses Lake still approaching 100 degrees as we go on in towards next weekend. Of course, the fire danger is going to be increasing, especially as we get on in towards Wednesday or Thursday. We're going to kick some winds back up here across the region as that ridge starts to shift a bit off to the east. Pick up those winds and the fire danger will increase. Now, you don't have to be a meteorologist to take a look at this map and know this is not good for the West Coast. You can see the red flag warnings, excessive heat warnings, excessive heat watches, heat advisories are just absolutely all over the place here. Looks some kind of nightmarish, rotten pink fruitcake out there. But yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, a very warm heat wave all the way up and down the West Coast, all the way up into British Columbia. And if we take a look off in towards Montana as well, don't leave them out. Look at Missoula approaching 100 degrees here as we go through July 11th. And Kalispell mid and some mid 90s showing up out there. Very warm temperatures. Look at Eureka here, 101, and Butte checking at the lower 90s here. So yeah, very warm temperatures here across even portions of Montana. Thunderstorm activity should remain off to the east of Billings today. Not much expected across the Pacific Northwest as we saw on the visible satellite. And this is actually for Olympia, 94 yesterday. Didn't get the record high, but we have the chance to start to get closer to one today as 95 is a record high set back in 1953. And Quileute, also, I believe, 85 degrees. I believe I talked about that one already. 2 back-to-back days of 85-degree temperatures here. So, yeah, 2 record highs in a row. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, record this crazy weather we get here, plot your data for you, store it in the cloud for you, build its own forecast for you. It's got a lightning detection system. Click on that link down below to save 10% off. Very attractive unit there. Great smartphone app. You don't even have to open it to see the little temperature widget up there, so you can check the thermometer before you head out on your day. Now, taking a look at the northern hemisphere, there's Greenland right there. There's the North Pole, and you can see Russia over here and whatnot. And there's Japan, Washington. There's the Hawaiian Islands. And as I put this into motion here, you can just kind of see the general circulation of the planet. And we do get these troughs still here across the northern hemisphere, but you can see these frontal systems that are associated with them are quite weak. And what it does a lot of times is just kind of bring marine pushes and kick our onshore flow on across the Pacific Northwest. You can see our ridge will be falling apart here for a lot of the area as we go on in towards the end of the week, but it's still going to remain fairly warm. And then we've got potential for additional systems on through the extended forecast, but you take that with a grain of salt at this range. But the beginning of the loop there, you can see the ridge bringing our record high temperatures here across the region. And this would be going on in through today, Sunday afternoon. Now, taking a look at the signature of all our heat waves here in the Pacific Northwest is the thermal trough. So they're tough to see here. They're very subtle features, and you can see that thermal trough kind of building up there across California as we go through the day today and kind of extended up the west coast here. Again, it doesn't take much strength to this. You just have to really stop the winds here. It doesn't have to be a super strong offshore flow to really ramp the temperatures up. So if we put that into motion here Tuesday, again, the last very warm day here for places west of the Cascades, and this is Tuesday afternoon. Then this thermal trough, you notice it shifts off to the east. That's going to allow a little bit of cooling here to take place on Wednesday. And you can see the high pressure building back in as we go through Thursday there. And then as we go towards the weekend here as well. So we're going to get a little bit more onshore flow and start to bring down these ridiculous temperatures here across the region. Looking at the GFS, this is actually running as I speak and do this briefing here. There's Washington here. There's Alaska. You can see Kodiak Island. There's Haida Gwaii, or as otherwise known as the Queen Charlottes. If I put this into motion, there's the ridge axis here, peaking on Tuesday before it shifts off to the east here, and then we flatten the ridge a little bit, and that's going to bring the cooling there. But let's take a look off into the extended, see if the GFS offers any relief. There's a little bit of a trough here that tries to swing through here as we go through July 13th. Yeah, and that's about where the end of the run here happens, about 153 on the 12Z. So yeah, there's always hope off in the extended forecast here, but it doesn't look like any huge ridges redeveloping in the immediate future. But we still have several days to go with this pretty impressive heat wave. This is the GFS for today, calling for 96. In fact, let's do this. Let's back all the way up to yesterday morning and see that it nailed that temperature there for Seattle. So the GFS ensemble has been doing actually pretty well. So what does it say here as we go through today? You can see 96. That would absolutely shatter the record high temperature of 90 here, and we might actually beat that one on Tuesday as well. It continues to paint Tuesday as a very warm day here across much of western Washington. This is the GFS cross section here. 10,000 feet would be the top of this, and there's the surface, and you can see the afternoon highs for today, Monday, and Tuesday. 3 more very hot days here, and Wednesday could still be pretty warm as well. And then you can see some cooler air in the upper levels of the atmosphere there, and the afternoon highs definitely dropping down a little bit. This is the same thing, cross section, Eugene, Oregon, very hot blowtorch temperatures coming in here as we go through Tuesday. Same thing here for Portland. Hasn't been exceeding 100 yet, but 99 2 days in a row. And again, yesterday, a record high temperature, and going to be shooting for 100 again here today for Portland International Airport. And also with some of the Willamette Valley here, you're reaching some high and extreme values in the wet bulb globe temperature. If you're working outside, if you're going to kind of athletic activities today, take extreme caution if you are out there during the peak time of the afternoon here and on into the early evening. Very dangerous temperatures out there. Take lots of water breaks if you have to be out. 6 to 10 day, no surprise here. The West Coast still above average through July 16th, below average on precipitation here. You can see the monsoon moisture there across Arizona. But looking at the fire danger here, this was updated already this morning, and you can see a lot of brown out there, so a lot of elevated risk. Even for the western Washington here, Tuesday and Wednesday, it shows up as elevated. And you can see Portland jumping in there as well, some Eugene, the Willamette Valley, and of course, eastern Oregon. You can see NW7, that's South Central Oregon here today. We're looking at the high risk here, and we're going to have some more high risk here across NW6, NW8, and NW10. So it's going to include portions of eastern Washington also. Take a look at the drought monitor here. So this is issued on July 3rd. We do have some severe drought and moderate drought out there, some abnormally dry regions, and we are scheduled to bring a little more drought here across the region. Actually, right now, Oregon is drought free, just some abnormally dry areas. So good news on that front. And this is looking at the yellows you see here, the U.S. monthly drought outlook. The yellows are showing that drought development is potentially likely here across Oregon, portions of Washington. It will be extended, and some of Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana as well. But anyway, yeah, get out there and enjoy the weather, hopefully early in the morning or later in the evening hours once the sun starts dipping down, because the middle of the day for some of these temperatures here across the Pacific Northwest are pretty ridiculous. Be careful if you're out and about in the heat. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. It is free to subscribe, so go ahead and click that button down there, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.